Hi, this is Nick Forster. We're going to share one of our favorite eTown shows from the archives, and it starts right now.
From the Mission Ballroom in Denver, Colorado, it's eTown on the road with our special musical guests this week, Charley Crockett and the Greyhounds. I'm Helen Forster. Right now, here comes our host, Nick Forster.
Thanks, Ellen. Hello, everybody. Welcome to eTown. We are coming to you this week from the Mission Ballroom in downtown Denver. Or almost downtown Denver. It's in the neighborhood now known as North Wine Coop, or sometimes Rhino, which I think comes from the River North neighborhood. Of course, New York City was the early adopter of all those neighborhood acronyms, with Soho for south of Houston Street and Tribeca for the triangle below Canal. But Denver has Lodo and Rhino and Lohi and all kinds of other neighborhoods. All I know is this is a cool spot in an emerging and transitioning neighborhood. Denver, by the way, is kind of a happening city these days, so different from the sleepy western city it was when I first hitchhiked here back in the early 70s. The Mission Ballroom is an example of the urban redevelopment of formerly funky industrial neighborhoods that's happening in lots of cities. This is a 60,000 square foot music venue that was built by AEG, can seat around 4,000 people, and can also be configured for smaller audiences. It's been open for almost 4 years, and it was really good to be backstage and see how this whole space was designed thoughtfully for touring musicians so that they can feel comfortable. Our guests this week, Charley Crockett and Greyhounds, are both rootsy, although they represent slightly different sides of the Americana music coin. Greyhounds have been on eTown a few times. Great trio of talented guys from Austin. And up first is Charley Crockett. His story is a good one. Born in Texas, he started playing on the streets of New Orleans as a teenager. He busked on the streets of New York and Paris. He lived in Spain and Morocco. Got a couple of felony convictions for selling weed in the Northwest. He rode freight trains and hitchhiked around. He always was working on his music, writing songs, recording, making a bunch of records. I think he's put out 10 records now, and he's back in his home state of Texas, living in Austin. Last year, the Austin Music Awards awarded him both Best Country Artist and Musician of the Year. Big stuff. And he's still in his 30s. So right now, let's go to the stage of the sold-out Mission Ballroom and listen to Charley Crockett and his band live on stage in eTown.
Good evening, Mile High City. I'm Charley Crockett. Thank you so much for having us out tonight. It was the time of the cottonwood trees, the time of the cottonwood trees. I met her at the Pale Horse Saloon. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Her pretty hair was brown, her eyes were too. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. It was the time of the cottonwood trees. I don't know if it was all a dream. She drove a blue pickup truck. Boss loved it, though it really wasn't much. Kinda like the way she loved me. In the time of the cottonwood trees, the time of the cottonwood trees. She followed me up the Rio Grande. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. She said she liked the way I crossed the line. That's a fact. That's a fact. It was the time of the cottonwood trees, and you could smell that sage on the breeze. I drove a blue pickup truck. Oh, she loved it, though it really wasn't like the way she loved me. And the time of the cottonwood trees, the time of the cottonwood trees. It was the time of the cottonwood trees. It's hard to figure what life really means. I can still see that blue pickup truck. Boss loved it, though it really wasn't much. Kinda like the way she loved me. In the time of the cottonwood trees, the cottonwood trees, the time of the cottonwood trees. The summer season is turning cool, though the days are still hot. I've been losing my green, kinda like the cottonwood trees, holding on to what they've got. That old Dodge City, tell me how do you do? Tonight I plan on making Denver. Coming in from the east, ain't gonna miss it in the least. Pardon me for saying so. She had a white dove in her hand. Last night I dreamed of the long black sedan. Across the plains, I swear I heard her call, and it took me to the end of Wichita. The snow-white Rockies moved from north to south, sorta like the life I left behind. I'll tell you something true, every little thing I do leaves me lonely all the time. She had a white dove in her hand. Last night I dreamed of the long black sedan. Across the plains, that's where I heard her call, and it took me to the end of Wichita. Summer season is turning cool, though the days are still hot. That's for you, Denver.
Charley Crockett, welcome to eTown. So glad you could do this today, man.
Oh, brother, the pleasure belongs to me. Thank you for having me on the program.
Yeah, it's funny, as I got to start learning about your life history, and you're a young man, but it makes me tired just learning about all the things you've already done. It's a lot.
Somebody might be on the track looking over their shoulder thinking I'm safely behind them, but in reality, I'm just coming around to lap them,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to start by just asking you about some of the places that were really helped kind of shape your creative path, maybe starting with New Orleans. So as a young guy, you went down there to stay with your uncle, and pretty soon you're knee deep in the whole scene down there. Musically, what did you latch on to first when you're down there as a young person?
Well, I was born in deep South Texas,
Right.
the Rio Grande Valley, and there's not a lot of economic opportunity down there. So, my daddy wasn't around back in those days, so she would send me to live with my uncle in New Orleans as a kid, because she thought I needed that. And that's what put me right in the middle of the French Quarter, because he worked right there.
Yeah.
And the street activity was always vibrant. There were always a lot of street performers, a lot of brass bands, a lot of people playing pickle buckets and tap dancers, street dancers. And
Did you ever come across my buddy Washboard Chaz?
yeah,
Yeah.
a fixture down there.
Yeah, he used to live up near Boulder. He was the mayor of Gold Hill, Colorado.
Well, that's a hell of a story. That's crazy, man. Yeah, and I wouldn't come back to New Orleans for quite a while as an itinerant. Hitchhiking and hoboing seemed like the best idea. There's the old Bob Marley line, if you're not living good, travel wide. I subscribe to that, because I just packed my grip and hit the highway. And so I spent a lot of time hoboing through up and down the West Coast, working on farms in Northern California, and then making my way across the country to New York City, and then coming down into New Orleans from New York City. And that's when I walked into a very vibrant street scene in the post-Katrina era, out of the turmoil and tragedy of Katrina. There was a very vibrant street culture.
Yeah, it kind of distilled thing down to its essence, right? The deepest part of New Orleans that survived Katrina was both hardened and sweetened a little bit, I imagine, by that experience.
Yeah, it's a delicate situation, honestly, and a lot of neglect, a lot of chaos, a lot of folks capitalizing on other people's misery. But in those kind of circumstances, it was almost lawless for years in terms of the way that the code on the street.
Yeah. Well, New Orleans was always a little loose like that anyway.
Yeah, that's right. When I was a kid, I remember you couldn't get a receipt anywhere, and if you really pressed them, they might write a receipt down on a notepad and a pencil. Pirates, man. Pirates.
Now, what about when you go to Paris? What was your approach there when you're playing on the streets in Paris?
Well, I ended up there by circumstance like everything else. I'd play outside all day in New York City. And I met a lot of people that way, and I became friends with a guy that eventually he helped me get over to Copenhagen, Denmark, and I worked like that kind of coffee house jazz circuit around that city. I wore my welcome out at the clubs really quickly, and it was stuff that was over my head at that point. I was still just really rough around the edges, not really able to lead a band, effectively. And I remember getting a couple of chances to get up there and kind of messing up the money. That kind of showed that I wasn't ready for the club circuit. And so it drove me out onto the street in Copenhagen. And at that time in my development, my street performance was worth more money in Denmark than it was in New York City.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden I went from making very little money to making more money than I'd ever seen as a street person. And then after doing that for about 8 weeks, I actually got tired of Copenhagen. And on a wild hair, because my mama loved Paris, France, and didn't think too much about how hard it might be to go to France, where the language barrier was significant compared to, say, Northern Europe. And I'm glad I didn't think about it, because I might have gotten cold feet.
Yeah.
But I got off that bus there, fell in with gypsies on the street, and I was born in Texas, but I say I came to life on the street in Paris, France, man. I hopped the turnstiles in the subway there 1,000 times and never got one ticket. You jump a turnstile in New York City one time, they find you. I love Paris.
Well, so much forward momentum, man. You were restless, but you were also really sizing it up and making progress all along the way.
Yeah.
And tell me about the music you were listening to. Like, who were some of the sort of touchstones musically for you during those formative years?
T-Bone Walker was a big one for me.
Yeah.
Ray Charles, kind of all along the way. Jelly Roll Morton, and Billie Holiday, and a lot of stuff. But I remember I would be over at people's places like in the Maroney and the Bywater, and this particular house that I spent a lot of time at had a really deep classic country vinyl collection, and there was like a whole shelf of Ernest Tubb material.
We opened for him one time, and I talked to his bus driver afterwards, and I said, man, what do you do with all these cool outfits you guys wear? And he said, well, we keep 2 of them going at a time, and every 6 months we get a new one. And I said, well, what do you do with the old ones? We look for a young band that's coming up and see if they want. I said, can we get them? And he said yes. So I bought 7 matching Texas Troubadours outfits from the tour manager.
Did you get a deal?
$100.
That's a deal. I guess it's not quite as cheap as Marty Stewart getting them out the trash, but I bet that was the next place they'd have gone.
Exactly. They would have gone there. Yeah. That was pretty
That's
cool.
amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those Texas Troubadours. Ernest Tubb he had a famous line. He said, if you're going to call me a hillbilly, you better smile. So he's a hillbilly, but he's also a showman. But that band behind him, those Texas Troubadours, those guys were ice cold jazz musicians that could handle anything you threw at them.
Oh, man.
You know?
I love that Willie Nelson's sitting in with them when he does My Window Faces South.
Oh, man.
With the
Yes,
Texas
sir.
Troubadours. That's a smoking cut.
Yeah, man. I played with Willie in Central Park 100 yards from the first bridge tunnel in Central Park that I ever bust under when I first landed there, because I crashed with a guy in Spanish Harlem, and I woke up the first night I was staying there, and I wandered off into that park, and that was probably in like 2008. And then, 14 years later, I was playing the summer stage, opening for Willie there, right in that same spot, man. And
Yeah.
it makes you feel like, somebody is watching out for you a little bit.
Yeah. And now you're living in Austin, is that right?
Yeah.
Feel a little bit like full circle, kind of? You're back in Texas and in a different kind of community, but at a different stage in your career, and feels like home.
It does. Being from the Rio Grande Valley and way down in South Texas, and then spending time growing up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I kind of avoided Austin, and when I wanted to get away from my situation in Texas as a young man, also just I wanted to see something, you know? So Austin was a little too close. But you would end up routing through there even as a hobo trying to get back out west from New Orleans. You'd go through the rail yards in Austin and spend time over there, hanging out on South Congress or 6th Street or over on the east side or whatever. And I kind of never considered that it would be a place that I would end up moving to.
Yeah.
But when I was coming back to Texas, after getting off the street, I signed a bad record deal right off the subway cars in New York City. Didn't work out. You know the story. I turned that curse into a blessing. And when I come back down to Texas, I went to Central Texas. I fell in love with Austin because I met a guy at a blues jam named Jay Moeller, who ended up setting me up with Billy Horton, a guy that I've recorded, who's been involved in every record I've made since 2015. And that's the reason I ended up in Austin. And I came to realize what sets Austin apart from any other town, especially as a working musician that's out here, on the bigger circuit. I love the community. I love the amount of live music available there. And yeah, Austin's changing, Denver's changing. There ain't no such thing as the good old days.
Right.
And the people that made this great American music, that this music's built on their backs, those didn't come out of good and easy times. You know what I mean? So I don't believe in the good old days. And there's no town I'd rather be in than Austin, and the support and love and the true sense of community towards the artists there is just, I'm very glad to have found it,
Yeah, well.
And I've joined a long line of people that feel that same way.
Yeah, no kidding. When I first moved to Denver in 1975, there were a bunch of Austin people living here, like Tommy Hancock and the Supernatural Family Band and Jimmy Dale Gilmore and Butch Hancock. These guys were all coming through here all the time. That was my first band was with Jimmy Dale here in Denver. But
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Tonight's the most tickets I've ever sold in my life, over on a single night show, even over anywhere in Texas to this point.
Wow.
It's the most tickets I ever sold. Just to a little tip of the hat to Denver. And I guess my mama was born here, so I'm sure she's good luck to me too.
Yeah. Well, listen, congratulations, Charley. Thanks so much for spending so much time with us. We're happy you could be part of the eTown gang, and good luck, man. Good luck.
Oh, it's an honor, man.
Yeah.
Really, truly, honor.
Thanks, Charley.
Yeah, brother.
I've got Odessa on my mind. I stay worried all the time. Wish I didn't earn so much, but I don't have that kind of luck. It's a low down dirty shame I can't even hear her name. So I'm selling off my pride with Odessa on my mind. I've got Odessa in my head. I think I'd like to wake up dead, and I finally take my rest and get this weight up off my chest. Yes, I know I'm talking bad. I done lost the best I had. Ain't no way to walk no line with Odessa on my mind. I've got Odessa on my mind. Think I rather would be blind than to see her walk away. How much pain can one fool take? See them lights out in the field, a testament to things men yell. But I ain't got nothing but time and Odessa on my mind. In my head, I think I'd like to wake up dead, and I finally take my rest and get this weight up off of my chest. Yes, I know I'm talking bad, and I done lost the best I had. Ain't no way to walk no line with Odessa on my mind. That's what I'm talking about, Denver.
That's Charley Crockett and his band live on stage at the Mission Ballroom in Denver. We're going to take a short break and be back with more music from Charley Crockett and, up next, the Greyhounds.
Your visit to eTown is made possible in part by the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District, or SCFD, one of the largest cultural funding mechanisms in the United States, supporting nearly 300 organizations in the greater Denver area. You're listening to eTown.
I'm Nick Forster. You're listening to eTown. We're at the Mission Ballroom in Denver for a show with Charley Crockett. And up next, one of the coolest musical partnerships in the world. Guitarist Andrew Trub ran an ad for a keyboard player in the LA Weekly back in 1999. And Anthony Farrell responded. The two of them have been a musical powerhouse ever since. Their partnership involves both writing songs and performing and playing in other people's bands, most notably as members of J.J. Grey and Mofro. They've been playing together as the Greyhounds for years. And I'll fill you in on a little secret, which is that Anthony is not only the keyboard player and principal vocalist, he's also the bass player with his left hand. So when you hear them, just listen to the bass line and know that there's only three of them on stage. Anthony Farrell playing the keyboards and singing and playing the bass lines, Andrew Trub on guitar, vocals, and Ed Miles on the drums. So here they are, live on stage at the Mission Ballroom in Denver, the Greyhounds, here in eTown.
get on right back to that subway, baby. Well, gotta get back where I come from, baby. Gotta get back where I come from, baby. I gotta get back. Well, I guess I better get clean on out of here, baby. Don't know why. So hard for me to figure out sometime. Well, the things that I do, babe, the things that you say, sure enough gonna drive both of you out of my mind. Get back, where I come from, babe, gotta get back. Get back, where I come from, babe, gotta get back. Oh, Farrah, what you think you doing? Get back. Well, where I come from, baby, gotta get back. Well, I guess I better get clean on out of here, man.
New streets of home in the morning dawn, still wide awake from the night before. It's a faded glow from last night's show, trying to stay ahead of the undertow. Get out of your head, into your heart, 'cause tonight nobody's judging. Whoa. Get out of your head, into your heart, 'cause tonight nobody's judging. The drugs I take, they regulate the stuff I hide. This do the vibe. At night, my friends, they let me in. A witch's touch on a burning crutch. Get out of your head, into your heart, 'cause tonight nobody's judging. Whoa. Get out of your head, into your heart, 'cause tonight nobody's judging. out of your head, into your heart. 'Cause tonight, nobody's judging. Get out of your head, into your heart. 'Cause tonight, nobody's judging. Get out of your head, into your heart. 'Cause tonight, nobody's judging.
Andrew and Anthony, the Greyhounds, back at eTown. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, so you're out on tour with Charley Crockett, playing a bunch of dates. And how's that going?
Yeah, everybody's been great. I mean, it's just a diverse group of people coming out to see the shows. And I think because of the juxtaposition between the styles of music, it's just interesting to see their reaction to it as well.
Yeah, well, I love his phrase, Gulf and Western music. You know, he really does incorporate that whole kind of Southern soul sound from New Orleans over to of course, you guys are absolutely universally appealing. That music just works.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Our music, the whole family can agree on.
But it looked like a couple of buses and a bunch of crew, and you guys are just...
We're in a Chrysler Pacifica.
A Chrysler Pacifica, trying to just hold on and keep up with the buses.
Oh yeah, but it's been great. It's been a blast.
But sometimes, I know that when I was touring, the agents would sometimes look at and see 500 miles as being like that's a reasonable distance between one-nighters.
Yeah,
and that can make for a long drive when you're in a Chrysler Pacifica.
Oh yeah, but it's fun too. It's like we spent so much time in the bus over the years with Mofro, and being in the van, it acclimates you to where you're going.
Yeah,
you really absorb the energy of where when you're on a bus, you sleep through all of that,
right?
And you hear the accents changing. You're way more in tune to where you are when you're traveling in a Chrysler Pacifica.
Yeah. And especially coming from, and if your previous gig was in Kansas City, you got to get a long chance at getting a vibe from Kansas.
Oh, yeah. We got deep in the Kansas vibe, man. Yeah. He got stuck in Kansas. He had to do a session.
I was actually doing some work with the Charley Crockett camp, and I was fortunate enough to play on the most recent record. So they went in to do some little more recording, and so I got to be a part of that as well. And so cool. I got to join them up for the drive. I got to see it from both perspectives.
Well, let's talk about recording, because your latest record was a couple years ago, Primates, right?
Yes.
And Steve Berlin helped you with that one?
Oh, yeah,
and so he definitely got to have some Los Lobos special sauce?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What'd you learn from, the way you've been making records, and what does Steve Berlin share that you didn't know before?
Everybody I've talked to about Steve, they agree that he's like a producer's producer. He's not going to come in there and tell you how you're supposed to do things. He's more like, hey, I'm going to open up these doors and show you that there's possibilities here and you can go and explore for yourself. I'm just here to kind of help guide you. That was such a rewarding experience because, we've all been in, those types of relationships where it's like you have a common goal, but everybody has their idea of how it's supposed to go, and so it's nice that we got that recorded and that, we had such a good experience.
Yeah. And are his invitations to open up new doors, are they more musical or more technical or more structural? Where do they...
I mean, it was all over the place.
Yeah, it was everything.
That's what was great about it, is that, like, we had a bunch of ideas coming in there. Andrew and I got together and just recorded a bunch of really different snippets of ideas.
Yeah.
And so we kind of came in there just ready to kind of, hey, let's just make something happen. And so some of the things we had, like lyrics written, some of the things we didn't. And so he offered suggestions on that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
And just all across the board, there were so many different aspects of the process where he kind of just showed us another direction that we could go, and it just informed the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, another thing I want to ask you about, speaking of creative projects, manifestations, I understand both of you are going to be dads.
That's right.
So when you find out that you're going to be a dad, what does that do to your worldview? How does that change the way you see your spot and where you're heading?
Well, we will get to that, but I have to say something about that. So he got pregnant, or his wife did. They got pregnant, and like my wife and I, like, we were not going to have kids. We're just not doing it. She's an artist, I'm a musician. We're just like, whatever. So they got pregnant, and then 2 months later, my wife got pregnant, and she didn't believe it. She's like, it's impossible. There's no way I'm pregnant. And it's just crazy because he and I have been together for like 23 years doing work together. And like, out of all the time now, like, we both, and it happens. It's like we were, what did Christine say? Forced maternity leave or whatever. But at the same time, it's just pretty cool. Yeah. But I just thought it was pretty magical how that happened,
I've been reading about how our immune systems are a combination of all these things that are swirling around trying to keep us healthy, but that mostly we're also a whole lot of different kinds of bacteria.
Yeah.
And that gazillions of bacteria that we share with the people around us, and that becomes a big part of who we are and how we are in the world. And if you spent 23 years next to each other, man, you're sharing a bunch of biomass between you.
That's what I say. He gave me baby COVID.
Yeah.
That's what happened. So anyway, but yeah, we're excited. But the question you were asking earlier, you probably have thought about that more than I have.
Well, man, I mean, it's very sobering when you think about, hey, you're bringing another life into this world, another character onto the play, But it's exciting, it's amazing, it's scary, But like most of all, it's just, this is what we do, We're humans. We make more humans, and we try to, we're reaching for something. You know what I mean? And if we don't find it, then hopefully the ones that come after us find it. And the big thing I'm already realizing, and what a lot of people have already told me, is that, it's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be honest, that's a relief.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, take some of that focus off of yourself and put some of that energy into the world and try to make it a better place for other people, especially, your family. You know what I mean? And so
now you sound like you're preaching the eTown gospel.
Hey, right on. Whatever it is, let's everybody do it, man. Like,
I thought about this whole program because I had kids. It's like, how can I think about the way music connects people and then try to make things a little better on behalf of this next generation and see if it can't work out and make some stuff happen better. And it's not just bringing more people into the world, it's bringing more love into the world.
Yeah.
Well, I congratulate you both on all fronts, man.
Appreciate
Congratulations musically, being out there, hanging out with Charley Crockett, being on the road, making music, recording, being dads.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's great to see you all again.
You too. Thank you.
See you too.
Thanks for having us.
The adventure continues.
Yeah.
That's the Greyhounds right here, backstage at eTown.
That's right.
you by my hand.
I used to be on a big boat, well now I'm on the trail. Used to have a pretty face, good Lord, a mustard dollar catch a tail. I put it on the label, do you think it's sale? I can put it all in jars, I can put it all in jars.
If you love me, won't you buy my hot sauce? If you love me, won't you buy my hot sauce? If you love me, won't you buy my hot sauce? If you love me, won't you buy my...
Well, I used to be on the big road, baby. Shit fine, now I'm on the chair. Used to have a pretty fake alone, it must have done a kid. Put it on labor, dollar, do you think it do it?
If you love me, won't you buy my hot sauce? If you love me, won't you buy my hot sauce? If you love me, won't you buy my hot sauce? If you love me, won't you buy my...
Andrew Trube right there. Watch out now.
Stepping up to the wheel again, yeah. Lady looking right here by my side. Gonna give it all just one more spin, yeah. Bet it all on love and let it ride, let it ride. I've taken a whole lot of chances. We all know this is a crazy game, crazy game. And I've been dealt my sentimental dances. But something tells me this ain't the same. So here I am, stepping up to the wheel again, yeah. Baby, looking right here by my side. Gonna give it all just one more spin, yeah. Bet it all on love and let it ride, let it ride. I told myself I was finished, that my heart couldn't take more pain, no more pain. But just when
All right. Hey, thank y'all so much for Greyhounds. Rock and roll, y'all.
That's the Greyhounds. Andrew Trube on vocals and guitar, Anthony Farrell on keyboards and vocals, and Ed Miles on the drums. We will be back with more music from Charley Crockett after a short break.
This portion of eTown is made possible by the Bohemian Foundation, building stronger communities through the bohemian qualities of creativity and imagination. On the web at bohemianfoundation.org. As a reminder, for your viewing pleasure, there are over 2,000 videos on the eTown YouTube channel, where you can also subscribe in order to stay up to date with our latest offerings. You're listening to eTown.
I'm Nick Forster. I'd like to say hello to our listeners who are hearing eTown on stations like KXT in Dallas and Fort Worth, Texas, on WITH in Ithaca, New York, and on KRVS in Lafayette, Louisiana. As always, if you'd like some more information about all the things that are happening here at eTown, lots of stuff is online at eTown.org. Before we get back to music from Charley Crockett, I just want to share something that Willie Nelson has said for years. He actually said it to me when he was first on eTown years ago. He talked about how his music could bring together what he called the ropers and the dopers. And of course, he meant the cowboys and the hippies who are part of Willie's audience and have been for years. I have to say that looking out in the audience at the Mission Ballroom at Charley Crockett's crowd, it wasn't quite as obvious. There wasn't any tie-dye or headbands that I could see. But I have to believe in this red state, blue state divisive time that maybe it's just Charley being from Austin, which people know as the blueberry and the tomato soup of Texas politics. This music is actually bridging a gap and bringing people together from different points of view. And I have to believe that that's a good thing. With that in mind, let's go back to the stage at the Mission Ballroom for some more music from Charley Crockett and his band.
Son, yeah, we ain't done. Come on, hit 'em, boys. The circus is coming through. Everybody knows that when you purchase a ticket, you expect to get a show. Take a look at me. I'm just a clown, and on my face, I will frown. I pay the cost to hang around. So take a look at me. I'm just a clown. The Joker stands in the middle, turns a trick for you, because sometimes you know it's better to be thought of as a fool. Take a look at me. I'm just a clown, and on my face I will frown. I pay the cost to hang around. So take a look at me. I'm just a clown. severe. You know it makes me wonder if I was even here. Take a look at me, I'm just a clown, and on my face, how a frown. I pay the cost to hang around. So take a look at me, I'm just a clown. I'm just a clown. Take a look at me. I'm so lonesome, I can charge a fee. I guess my clothes give me away. I'm just a clown, that's what they say. I'm just a clown. Denver, Colorado, Mile High City. I'm Charley Crockett, that's Charlie with an E-Y. I'm Charley Pride, Crockett with 2 T's, just like David, don't you forget it. Don't regret it.
That's Charley Crockett, live on stage at the Mission Ballroom, along with his band. I want to say thanks to all of our guests. Of course, the Greyhounds did a great job. Thanks to Charley Crockett and his band. Thanks to our production team. That includes Todd Ayers, Zach Littlefield. Special thanks to Helen Forster. We're going to leave you with most of another song from Charley Crockett's set. I'm Nick Forster. Hope you can be with us next week right here in eTown.
Such a dirty little river, but that don't bother me. Dirty little river, sort of give me clean up. Pretty little river, and it flow because I cry. So to keep me honest, with everybody telling lies. Damn scent of evening on everywhere. Gamblers turn their cards in, thinking on their whiskey hall. Damn scent of evening flows all through my head. I had the sweetest dream. I was floating in the river there. Been in the river, such a dirty little river, but that don't bother me. Dirty little river, sort of give me cleaner. Trinity River, yes it flows because I cry. So to keep me honest, with everybody telling lies. In this river city, nothing ever lasts. Beside the lonesome blues that is staring back at you. In this river city, oh, one thing you can be sold. Whatever you got to give, believe me, you gon' give some more. Trinity River, such a dirty little river, but that don't bother me. Dirty little river, sort of wash me clean. Trinity River, and it flows because I cry. So to keep me honest, and
everybody's telling lies.
This is a production of eTown.